we're back out at CCU. For about the past 2 weeks, I have been testing out all the different molds and all the different categories to try to find a perfect bag. All of my understable putters, stable putters, overstable putters, my approaches, mids, fairways, and now I'm to the distance drivers. I've picked out my understable distance driver. Now I'm in the stable distance driver category. And so I brought out basically every mold that I had at home that I feel like is going to be relatively straight. It may be a little bit understable, maybe a little bit overstable, but it's going to be relatively straight. It's something that I would feel comfortable throwing as a straight distance driver. Now this morning, I don't know if you can see the flag off in the distance out there. There's not a whole lot of wind. It is a little bit of headwind coming into us. But from where we stand, and I will be throwing from in front of the camera, but to shoot some distances with my rangefinder here, the first set of trees that you see off in the distance, and I'm not going to be able to look through the camera lens and actually see it, but the first set of trees that you see off in the distance where there's 2 trees and then a space and then one kind of a scraggly looking dead tree, that scraggly looking dead tree is 114 yards from here, so that's about 345 feet. And then beyond that, there's a tree off in the further distance. That tree is 150 yards. So that's, yeah, that would be a bomb. 450 feet, obviously we're not getting there. But what I'm trying to do here is I would bring out all of the different molds. For example, let's take overstable mid-ranges. Everything that I had at home that was what I consider an overstable mid-range, regardless of the numbers, regardless of what's stamped on the front of the disc, I've thrown it, I know it's very overstable. I would bring it out and I tried it. I threw finesse backhands, full power backhands, finesse forehands, full power forehands, situational shots where I was leaning out around a tree or where I had to go to a specific gap, and kept narrowing it down until I got the one that A, felt the best in my hand, B, flew the best, and C, most important, most forgiving. The one that if I messed up, and let's face it, I do, the one that if I messed up was the most forgiving. So today, what I've done is I've brought out a lot of what I consider my straight/stable drivers. I have D Model S, both in Basegrip and in Duraflex. I have D2s, 400, 400G, and 500. Let's see what else I've got. A Ballista, some cranks, X3s, D2 Maxes, an older run D4 that's a barstamp that's pretty straight, pretty stable, a Trespass, a Samurai, and a Shrike. So I want to get a chance to throw all of those, and what I'm doing is I'm looking for overall shape of flight. For me, stable doesn't mean it finishes in a straight line. What I'm looking for is the disc comes out, it may flip up a little bit, it may glide right, it may glide left a little bit, but it flies relatively straight until it loses its speed and energy, then it dumps. To me, overstable is when it apexes, when it gets to the top of its flight, it begins that turn when there's still energy left in the flight. Stable is it flies a relatively straight path, and then when there's no energy left, it just dumps out. So that's what I'm looking for. The ground is a little bit moist, so hopefully I won't kill myself. All right, so we're gonna start out with the one that I'm gonna be least likely to use. The reason is it's in prime plastic. I prefer my distance drivers in a little bit more robust plastic. But this is a Prime Trespass, speed 12, glide 5, turn negative 0.5, and a fade of 3. I have a Trespass at home that is in Glimmer Lucid plastic. So it's gonna be what I would test out for my overstable set. But this is 174 grams. First throw of the day, please don't laugh. I am aiming for that set of trees off in the distance that I said was about 345. First throw of the day, I knew that was going to be pretty bad. That literally flew like 260. That was a bomb. Yeah. The next one, and I probably won't be using it as my stable driver either, but it's an older 400G D4 bar stamp. And I don't know if you know anything about these. These were stupidly overstable. At least to me they are. 172 grams. Okay, so I got a little turn on it. Nice little flex shot. To me, that's stable. It's relatively net straight, and it flew out there probably about 300, 310, something like that. Like I say, my arm is still warming up, so. This is one that I absolutely love, and I never thought I would, but it's a Basegrip. Yeah, I know, I said I wanted premium plastic, but Basegrip D Model S, 166 grams. Into the wind, probably not the best disc, but this thing, it just bombs. You can see it comes out, it flips up to flat. It has tremendous glide. And then at the end of its flight, when there's no energy left, it just dumps left. Predictable, relatively straight. Here is an older D Model S. This is a Duraflex. It's one of the very first ones that came out. You can see it's kind of almost got that halo look to it. 175 grams. This thing is stupidly overstable, but we'll see. That's my only complaint with the D Model S. For some reason, whenever I throw it, it comes out and it wants to almost air balloon. Here is 172 gram Innova Star Shrike. Brand new, never thrown. Oh, it flies good too. Comes out straight. Now see, it starts to turn before the end of its flight, before there's any, like it's expended all of its energy. So to me, that's a slight bit on the overstable side. Here's one, and this is, 2014. This is a Samurai, I believe, from Gateway, 175 grams. Oh, little turnover. Man, I've never thrown that disc, but wow. That's out there, yeah, 340, 345. I've never thrown that disc. That's impressive. One of my favorites, I probably wouldn't bag it because I'd be afraid of losing it, but a 400 D2 Will Shoestrick from probably 2018, 2019. Very pop-toppy, very domey. And again, we're into a slight headwind, so it's going to affect the disc a little bit. And again, you can see pretty good turnover on it. That disc is now what I consider understable, at least into the headwind. It turns over and it never bothers to try to fight out. See what else we can find here. A 2016 Ballista, not a Ballista Pro, just a Ballista, 173 grams. In what I'm guessing is, yeah, gold line plastic. That disc feels like it comes out faster than any other one has yet. It doesn't fly any further, but it feels like it comes out faster, like it left my hand faster. This is one, a D Model US, in Basegrip plastic. Now you're probably thinking, why are you throwing a US when you're testing stable? This one again has that halo look. This is one of the very first ones that came out. And so it is a lot more overstable than the name implies. See, that thing should have dumped to the right, but it didn't. That's probably like a D Model OSSS. What else we got in here? I think I've thrown it twice maybe. D Model S Duraflex, 173 gram. It's a little bit nose up. Flew out there around 300-ish. I'm not really bombing any of them. I'm still trying to warm my arm up, and I'm really nervous about the wet grass, I'll be honest. I'm trying to put the exact same toss on each one so that I can see a true flight characteristics. Here's an X3. It is a 174-400 X3. Little domey, very chalky. It comes out fast like that Ballista. Doesn't really fly any further. Flies basically the same distance as all the other ones. I'm not really doing this test to see who can get me the most distance. This test is all about feel, which one I feel most confident with, and which one I feel like if I make a mistake, it's going to be most forgiving. 400 D2 max. That is 172. A little bit of turnover. Oh my gosh. That is, I'll shoot the laser when I get out there to it, but I'm guessing 375. That one comes out way faster. I can say that. The D2 Max comes out way faster. Has a little bit of flex, which is obviously going to give it some more distance. Here's another D2 Max, 400 plastic, D2 Max. As it's a 175, so there's 3 grams heavier than the previous. You'll notice very, very little, if any, turnover. And it flies a little longer than the others, but not much. That's the big difference. That first one actually went to the right, had a little bit of turnover on it. So that's what's going to give it the most distance. Here's a brand new 173-400 D2, slightly domey. Picked it up on an online auction on Facebook. Let's give it a toss. Uh-oh, early release. Woo, big flare. Okay, that one I'm gonna have to toss again because that was not a good representation of its true flight. Now we're getting to a different name brand. This is a Z Crank. The weight sticker has fallen off, but I think if I remember correctly, somewhere in the 168, 169 category. It flips up to flat, glides, and then just kind of dumps out with basically where all the other ones are. They're all going again about the same distance. That one D2 Max was absolutely smashed. Z Flx Crank, no weight, I think it was 171, 172. Very, very flat. Low toss, it does have to peel over. If I'd have given that one some height, it would have flexed out and came back. I threw it low, but it does have a little turnover on it. All right, let's see what's next. Now some of the ones that I haven't had a chance to throw in quite a while. Some of them I've never thrown. Here's one, and I've been keeping it in plastic. A Legacy Cannon. It's a grinder stamp. There's one imperfection in the plastic. 174 grams. I'm looking forward to this one. Now the headwind has picked up. Well, it's brand new and you can tell it. It's supposed to be a -3.3, I think, are the numbers, and it did not -3, it just zeroed. I have a bunch of D2s, multiples of each one, so I'm probably not gonna throw each one. Here, for example, I have 2 400G, brand new, 173s. This one is a 400G D2. Again, I'm not gonna throw both of them. This one's brand new. A little bit of turnover, decent glide, and a decent finish. Again, no different, no further than the others. Here we have, this is a translucent 174 400 D2. Be hard to find in the woods and it's green. Oh, wow. That one comes out fast like the D2 Max. About the same distance as all the others, but it comes out fast and it has a little bit of turnover. That's pretty sweet. Here's another one I've kind of been looking forward to throwing. This is a 500 D2, 174. Oh, 500 is very much, I don't know if you can see it, it's flown out of frame to the right. Wow, that turned over and never tried to come back. That 500 is definitely less stable than the 400G. And lastly, 400 D2, love the green, love the oil slick stamp, 172 grams. This one I'm expecting to bomb. There's your -1 turn. It didn't go as far as the D2 Max, but it did go about 350. And again, I'm taking like a 3-step run up, so I'm not really tossing them hard, but they're flying.